All right, let's turn to this now. The Tshwane Metro Municipality has written to the Gauteng government requesting for an extension on passing the budget. On Monday, the Metro wrote to the provincial treasury asking for the budget deadline to be moved to the 31st of March from the initial date of the 24th of March, which is tomorrow. Tshwane Council has failed on numerous occasions to elect a new executive mayor after Dr. Moruna Makwarela resigned on a cloud relating to a fake insolvency rehabilitation certificate. Well, we're joined now by the MEC for Finance in Gauteng, Jacob Mamabolo, who went to this meeting with the CFO, or at least that particular structure in the city of Tshwane, including the city manager. Give us some feedback. I mean, how important, how critical was... Good evening, by the way, and thank you very much for joining us. How important and how critical was this meeting today, considering that the deadline is tomorrow?
Firstly, good evening to you and to all the viewers. Let me also thank you for the invitation and start by just confirming that the City of Tshwane did write to us, and we held a very good meeting with them this morning. And the significance of the meeting lies in the fact that we needed to understand the totality of the facts, the details, the information around the request they've made to us, but also for them to, bring us on, give us a better understanding of the current environment. Yeah. Precisely because what they were asking us to do was to extend, give them an extension on the legal requirement to table their adjustment budget by the 31st of March. We had initially written to them to say we believe the 24th, which is tomorrow, was the best option that we could have given them. So when they experienced difficulties and insisted on the 31st of March, we then said instead of exchanging papers, but we need to understand also the complexity of the environment. They need to take us into confidence about what's going on. But I think at the end, the meeting was very good in the sense that we have found each other, and I'm very much pleased to say that we have given them a further extension after the discussions, and we immediately wrote to them today, in which we're saying that they have up to the 14th of April to make sure that they table the adjustment budget. Yeah. I must also say that in addition to the adjustment budget, they are also getting into a difficulty, and in the second communication, they've also asked that we grant them another extension to table now the full budget for the next financial year, because we've got the adjustment. Yeah.
So it's budget, the draft and the adjustment budget.
Yes, so they want to table both, and then we said to them, due both on the 14th of April, because we also did a very risk analysis of will they have a mayor in place by the end of March, and today it's Thursday, and when you look at what is required by next week and the difficulties in the city, we believe that they may not be able to comply with the 31st of March, and given the significance and importance of this matter and the value we attach to it, we felt instead of exchanging papers, let's, given the importance of this issue, deal with it well in advance and say 14th of April.
Talk to us about that magnitude of the problem and having done this analysis and having looked at it. So basically what they are saying is that, of course, with the current budget that was put in place, they are underspending in certain areas and overspending in other particular areas, and so they want this adjustment in order to be able to legitimize their process of moving where they are underspending to where they are overspending, so that things are properly balanced. What does that mean in practice? For example, we know that they are constantly missing their payment deadline to Eskom because of this and other reasons of how their revenue is coming in. We saw there were challenges with, for example, petrol for the buses for the same reasons, where budgets or liquidity, let's push it that way, cash flow.
The financial position of the municipality.
Becoming difficult. Yeah. So, shifting issues now to the 14th of April, how does that affect the functioning and the oversight and the cash flow?
I must say, so two issues are important. The very first one is that it is important to appreciate that the initial baseline budget that they are running in the current financial year, that is going. That is not affected because the financial year end, as legislated for municipalities, will come into effect end of June. So it means the budget they passed last year, or that came into effect last year, July, that will end this year, end of June. The baseline budget, it's okay. So they can continue to run the municipalities. I mean, the municipalities' affairs. The second point related to that is with the adjustment. Moving money from perhaps some programs to others, reprioritizing the budget, bringing the rollovers of the last financial year into effect now. That means until the adjustment budget is tabled before council by the mayor, they cannot touch or spend on the adjustments that they are making in the budget. So that means for every single day that they do not have a mayor, because it is only the mayor who can table the adjustment budget. Yeah. It means for as long as they don't have that approval from the council, they are getting into a difficulty in the sense that they could end up sitting with, because remember, they didn't anticipate or build in a risk that they may not have a mayor. They had not worked on the basis that their adjustment budget may be affected. So they may not abruptly stop projects, particularly capital projects that are, most of them are long-term contractual obligations. So it means that they will get into a trouble of unauthorized expenditure, spending the money for which they don't have.
So the money is there, they could spend it, but they won't have approval, and then they'll run into a risk.
With respect to the adjustment.
With respect to the adjustment.
With respect to the adjustment.
Is that something that can be explained to the Auditor General at a later stage to say, well, this was the time when we didn't have a mayor and we needed to do this adjustment, so hence we made this expense?
Yeah, I must be very careful not to start to speak on behalf of the Auditor General. That could be itself unauthorized. Okay, I can get into trouble with that. But essentially, I think the point to be emphasized is that it depends the deterioration of the fiscal environment in the municipality. The City of Tshwane currently, and I met with the Auditor General last week, Monday, who was giving us a report about state of municipalities' finances across the province. Tshwane has regressed. It has terribly deteriorated. Adverse findings against the city. And so, and already unauthorized expenditure in the city is high because they've been working on what is called unfunded mandates. So if they continue to spend money that is not authorized, it plunges them into a much more bigger crisis, which will then mean they have to now engage the Auditor General. Secondly, I think the other issue is we have got what we call conditional grants, which is part of the revenue of the municipality, over and above their own revenue. So if they don't spend because the adjustment is not approved, it means they are going to underspend on these conditional grants. And then there you are. I think you even explaining it further. There are consequences for that. So that is also another difficulty. The other important one I'd like to make is that for as long as they don't have a mayor, they can't table even now the budget for the full financial year that is yet to start. If they can't table that, every day they don't do that, they are missing the number of days for compliance. Like they have to consult with communities. So the end of the financial year might come and they have not fully complied. That has got even more drastic consequences.
Back live tonight here on In Focus, looking into the administrative challenges of the city of Tshwane. Been without a mayor now for 3 weeks after the resignation of Randal. And now they are, of course, also dealing with the resignation of Dr. Moruna Makwarela. And this has meant that the adjustment budget and the draft budgets have not been passed. The Finance MEC in Gauteng met with the City of Tshwane manager and the CFO, head of strategy, to get a sense of where the situation is. The 14th of April extension, is that the final extension?
I'll use this analogy of what good people call holding other factors constant. If everything was to go well, in the period that they have, there was to be a mayor who will then appoint a mayoral committee, then table the adjustment budget and, of course, the main budget. And that happens anytime between now and next week and whatever period, then they will be able to comply with that. Now,
but are you playing it by ear? It seems you're kind of playing it by ear. I mean, what gives you that 14th of April? I mean, you just sat in the meeting and decided, yeah, we'll give you 20 more days. Or is there something that informs you as Treasury to say, this is how much you can give them as an extension?
So this is not an arbitrary date we're setting. It's firstly because they had put in 2 dates. One, 31st of March, which is next week. And then they said on the other main budget, give us the 14th of April. So we then said it is permissible, it is within their purview to table both on the same day. So we then said, okay, let's take the outer one, which is the one they proposed. But we also had to sort of scan the environment. We had to look at what is possible, given, and the main thing we had is the conduct of the parties, what we're seeing happening there. So we were very clear that next week we may not have this. So maybe the next reliable date. So we didn't give the date of the 14th. We approved one of the dates in the 2 that they've requested. But we also had to be a bit certain that perhaps reasonably can it happen, and they although they are managers, they are not the political leadership. They have really gone a long way to make a point about the fact that everybody understand the urgency of the situation. So it will not be entirely correct to say come the 14th they would have elected the mayor, because we do not know what could happen. So we shouldn't create an impression that by the 14th there will be a mayor in the city of Tshwane. We are saying it is better for the municipality to have a mayor by that time, because if the political problems and challenges are sustained, they deepen the crisis in the fiscal space. They severely affect the financial governance. They affect the confidence level, the trust of the residents of Tshwane, of everybody. We must also take into account municipality is an investment space. We need to grow the Gauteng economy. We need jobs. City of Tshwane is the capital city. So as long as this problem is sustained, it is not only the fiscal risks that it has got, effects across the entire system.
The fiscal space is your purview. That's where you are. Does the challenges in the fiscal space raise the issue for you to propose a Section 139? Is that something that you can call for, or is that something that COCTA needs to call for, or is that something that the Premier needs to call for?
Let me just say that the environment in which we are working of a metro municipality, and even in today's meeting, I think it's important for the benefit of the viewers that we're also joined by National Treasury, because National Treasury has got some responsibilities in particularly metros. So we had to apply our minds together with National Treasury in the decisions that we have made today. So the question that you are asking about what could possibly be the turn of events, possible scenarios and all that, I will say that obviously the decisions affecting municipalities are shared between COGTA, Treasury and all that. But I think for the purpose of this discussion, let us work on the basis that, the political questions that have a bearing on the fiscal environment will be attended to and be attended to urgently, and that is a deeper appreciation of the risks that goes with this issue, and that let us not begin to forecast scenarios that could even, create much more difficulties. I think at this point, and I must say to you, the team that we met today, when we had our own session without them, we made a very good observation that, we're seeing commitment, the right level of confidence that we needed to understand that this team is working on this issue. And you ask a question, how are we supporting them? I think these discussions we had with them today and the teams that we are making available, National Treasury has got a full team there. We as a province also have got our teams that are working with them. So to that extent, I think we are positive that, the new mayor should be given a fair opportunity to come in and table the adjustment budget. And we wouldn't want to get into that space, and I don't think it's correct. But we believe that let's allow the city to resolve this issue. Let's appeal to the city as well.
I'm asking that because it's always said that province has got the ability to intervene at a much earlier stage in the decay of local municipalities. And therefore, shouldn't wait too late before they are able to intervene and save the situation, right? And you have been there and you're looking at that situation. Are you coming out of that meeting at a point where you're saying the situation can still be allowed to go on until they sort out the political issues and get a mayor in place? Or are you saying the situation has deteriorated to the point that it should not be allowed to deteriorate further and therefore province should actually come in and intervene?
I think let me make an appeal to the leadership to the political leadership in the city of Tshwane, that one day without a mayor, one day without the budget, the adjustment budget approved, it's a big risk to the city. The second point, on a more positive note, just today in the afternoon, I've seen a very good statement issued by the provincial COGTA department, and that statement is actually clearly, engaging the political leadership of the city and requesting them to also give a proper account of why they don't have a mayor. So already, the provincial government is intervening quite decisively. And I think the statement of COGTA is, I must say, it's highly remarkable. It's a very powerful statement, which I think once they respond to the MEC, it should be able to go somewhere. So I think from finance, from COGTA, from National Treasury, all of us, there's a very clear, consolidated effort to make sure that we bring this situation. We can't afford things going on a little bit, no. The reason why we called a meeting than writing papers, exchanging, it was also to impress upon the managers that you are plunging the city, whose finances are already in a terrible state, into a difficulty if this continues. So it is out of how serious we take this matter that on all levels, national, provincial, we are together in a single effort to make sure that the residents of the city of Tshwane, investors in the township, in the country, international investors, and the capital city of our country is in a good political, financial, and socio-economic, remarkable state of governance for the benefit of the people and the economy.
MEC, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming in tonight. MEC for Finance in Gauteng, there, Jacob Mamabolo.